Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel and welcome back to Lawfolds, Scotland. This is episode number 52 and we are sort of in the middle. We've already been working a little bit here off camera and we are sort of in the process of chopping our corn. Now you might remember, if you remember, in the sometime in the beginning of the second year that we started here on this map, we leased this field. This is field number 9, I believe it is. We leased this through the Bank of Hagenstadt mod, and we planted it in corn, and we are in the process of chopping that corn into chaff and transporting the chaff down to the biogas facility, which is actually just right next door to us here. And then of course dumping the chaff into the bunker and compacting and leveling the chaff, and of course we will go ahead and seal the bunker just as soon as we get this harvest done. And I just would like to take the opportunity to say thank you so much for coming back for another episode. I really do appreciate it. Now this coming weekend, you guys are watching this episode sometime midweek, about Thursday or so, and I believe on Saturday I will be showing you, I will be providing a tutorial basically on how to basically do your silage harvest, your chaff harvest, and we will be demonstrating that in part 1. Now part 1 will consist of basically sort of everything that we're doing here. Setting up the courseplay route for the harvester, setting up the courseplay routes for the tractors and the tippers, and then of course using courseplay to basically do the leveling and the compacting of the chaff in the bunker so that we can ready that to actually be sealed up and allow for the fermentation process to start. Now there are many different ways, of course, that you can go about, setting up your courses and everything. And as I've said many times, and I really do mean this, course play, unfortunately, is not something that you can set and forget. And what I mean by that is that if you're looking for a way that you can go to your gaming PC, turn it on, boot up FarmSim 17 or even 15 if for that matter, and basically start your AI workers doing whatever tasks need to be done on the farm, and then basically go read a book, take a nap, go to the convenience store, whatever. It's not gonna work for you. And it may work that way sometimes, but it's just not going to be something that you can just simply set and forget and it will work flawlessly each and every time. It just has some challenges, and I think that sometimes in the applications where we have more AI controlled vehicles, so in other words you've got multiple either multiple combines or a combine and a tractor tipper and an auger wagon, and of course we've got the BGA process, leveling and compacting. Sometimes all these vehicles just sort of get tangled up with each other, and but it is a big help. I mean, I try to what I try to do is I try to at least take over and control one of the vehicle. So like I'm doing here with our demonstration here, is I am running the forage harvester. That seems to help when I can do that, and it sort of will free up. Let's see, what's he going to do? He is at 0.5%. Come on a little closer to me, buddy. There we go. Unfortunately in 17, and I can't remember if it did this in 15, but if you don't have a tractor and a tipper that's under your forage wagon, or near your forage harvester, I should say, you basically stand the chance of losing and wasting chaff, and hopefully those guys can steer around each other, and it looks like that they did quite well. So anyway, thank you all so much for coming back for another episode. I do appreciate that. I know I probably say that quite a bit. I know I try to say it each and every episode, but that's simply because I really do mean it. I really do appreciate the fact that folks are watching my channel and actually getting something from it. You know, I think that's the biggest thing for me, is I want you all to get something out of these videos. It's not just for me to, you know, pad my ego or stroke my ego or anything like that. It's not about that. I know that there may be some people that may, you know, do this simply for those purposes. With me, it's not that way. I really enjoy helping people. I have just that nature about me, and I think that's one of the reasons why I chose to go into the IT field. I at one particular point in time, I wanted to be a school teacher, and I think, you know, again, that was sort of in an effort to help people, to certainly help students. I went into the IT world, and I've been in this line of business for a number of years, and I really do enjoy helping people. I enjoy doing my job. I enjoy doing this. And so many of you reach out to me with questions and issues, or my tutorials help you, or my mod reviews help you. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to tell me these things, because, you know, as I kind of pointed out a few episodes ago, in my line of work, in the IT line of work, and maybe even something like, you know, doctors and things like that, we only typically ever hear from people when there's a problem, when you're not feeling good, or in the IT world, when, you know, your computer's broken, or you can't get email, or a server is down, or the phones don't work, or something like that. People will come and knock on my door. But I appreciate the fact that you guys all leave comments and tell me when I've helped you. Tell me when you know, I've been able to share something with you that has helped you and helped you on your virtual farm and your virtual world. So that's why I do this, folks. I don't do it for any other purpose other than that. Oh, I mean, sure, I enjoy playing this game immensely, but, you know, I could do all of this and not have to take the extra time to do the video editing and the rendering and the uploading and all that kind of stuff. I could just play the game, but you know, it wouldn't help you guys out as much, and I really do enjoy doing that. And of course, that was one of the reasons why I did the Courseplay tutorials, because I know that there are many different YouTube folks, personalities that are doing Courseplay tutorials. Several of somewhat maybe some of my favorite YouTube folks are doing Courseplay tutorials, and but, you know, I have a little bit different way of explaining things or showcasing things or whatever, and so I know it's helped many of you, and that is just really all that I need to know, is that you guys are getting something out of it, because if you get something out of it, then basically I get something out of the fact that it has helped you. Now, of course, just to go ahead and explain the money situation, because I think probably the last time that we were together, we had over $1 million. We had over $1 million in our bank account, and we have dropped down to 660,000. That is because we went ahead and fronted the operating capital to get the Big X harvester, and to also purchase an extra tipper and also an extra tractor and the silage blade. And I will show you that here momentarily. I tell you what, let's let this other tractor, let me just make sure if this other tractor is going to come up here correctly, and he is. So let's go ahead and follow this guy to the biogas facility so that you can see this in action. And of course, as I get a drink of my iced tea. I did put out, or I will put out, a horseplay tutorial on this process. I've already recorded it. I recorded it actually this morning. Now I've made a few changes to the routes of which I demonstrated and showed. It was just primarily because I began using multiple tractors, multiple pieces of equipment. And let me get over here in this tractor here where we can see a little bit better. Now, basically the process is this. This tractor, this Valtra, has the default in-game silage blade on it. At the BGA plant, this tractor is the traffic cop. This is the boss. This is the sort of the boss, the foreman, if you will. Okay, he or she is basically controlling the tractors and the tippers when they get close to the BGA. I've got this set on about 75 meters range because I found that about 50 meters it was interfering with each other just because of the distance of the bunker and everything else. So he has basically told the tractor and the tipper to basically halt right there where they are. He is going to move over into his holding position or his wait spot. And then when he does that, then he will basically signal to the New Holland tractor and the tipper that they can proceed. And they will momentarily. There we go. So let me jump out, spin myself around. So I sort of bypassed going through the scale only because it was beginning to take a little bit of extra time. And so they will make their turn just like so. And then they will come up and she will, or he will, go ahead and proceed in a straight line kind of away from the entry point of the bunker. And then she will begin to reverse here momentarily, and she will reverse up and empty her chaff at the beginning or sort of into the bunker there. I want to make sure that we stay out of the way. So it's reached the trigger point and it will empty the chaff. Just like so. Love this DB50 Penta trailer. This is such a wonderful mod. Alright, and if you're interested in that mod, you know where to get it. Go to grizzlybearsims.com and click on the add-ons and mod spreadsheet. Now this tractor here, again, this is sort of the boss. It's gone ahead and sent that tractor and tipper back to the field where it will wait until we get back. And then she will, or he will come up and they will drop the blade momentarily just to kind of check for the clearance and everything. I've got that set on automatic for automatic height. And then he will proceed to back into the silage bunker and then begin pushing and maneuvering the chaff. And if you notice down here at the end, it is building quite a wall up there, and they will just continue to do that and compact and level our chaff very nicely. And they will just do that until the next tractor tipper load arrives, and then she will proceed to her wait stop, and then the process will rinse and repeat. So let's get back to our forage harvester, just simply because we've got a lot of work to do and a short time to do it, and all that good stuff. So we'll turn this guy on here, and off we go again. I hope you guys don't mind that we're sort of just doing one thing on this episode. I do try to do, well, except for when we're sort of in the hot and heavy cycles of harvesting or planting, where kind of the episodes do tend to be sort of centrally focused around one task, one job. Here, the last few episodes, I've been trying to add different things to the mix. But since we have not really done a chaff or corn cutting process in recent episodes, We did do back in Pine Cove Farm, but I really didn't show much about the leveling and the compaction process, and so I kind of thought that we would just do this job here until we basically run out of time, and then I will finish it up off camera, and at least you guys will get to see how this kind of works. And you know, we're in that because we're in midsummer, and by the way, this is a new game day. I went ahead and fast forwarded into midsummer, so this is essentially our 5th game day of our 2nd year. And of course, this is episode number 52. And but I did go ahead and fast forward into this game day. Pretty much, I think this may be, I'll have to check, and of course I know I changed my mind quite a bit, but I think this might be the last or the only episode for this game day. We will just see. I need to check to see how our animals are doing, and we have sprayed fertilizer on 2 of our fields that needed to be basically needed to be fertilized. I think we've got 1 more field that will need to be sprayed on the next game day, and that's that small field that we planted soybeans in as sort of a test. And so that will need to be sprayed 1 more time before harvest, I believe. And then essentially all of those types of tasks will be done. And I'm hoping that maybe tomorrow, the last game day of summer, we might have some fields that will be ready to harvest. We'll just have to see. They're all pretty much nearing the stage of where we can start harvesting very soon. And of course the corn, this is still in its last stage of growth, so that's when we would want to cut it while it's still green. And of course I believe you can, unlike in 17 or in 15 when we had to wait until it was actually fully grown, if my memory serves me correctly, here in 17 we are able to cut it when it's in this stage. And this is the stage just before it would be ready for harvest, and the opportune time to do this sort of job. At least that's the way I understand it in the real world. But yeah, we did go ahead and purchase the needed equipment that we had here that we needed to accomplish this job. And of course, we will take the profit from the harvest or from the sale of the silage at the BGA. We will take that as our profit and our payment, more or less, for doing this job, for covering the lease of the field, for covering the cost of the extra equipment, and of course the labor and everything, because we did hire some extra workers to help us pull this off. We can't do everything ourselves. We do need help every now and again. And come on. Come on. There we go. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of chaff to get them to get on the correct line. And looks like our Courseplay sprayer unit needs to be refilled, so we will take care of that momentarily. Alright, so they are full and they're headed back. So let's see where our next tractor and tipper is, hopefully nearby. There they are. And of course they just ran right into each other. Let's see, are we in the, no, we're in the New Holland. Let's get in the Fent and stop this guy. Alright, I went ahead and took care of that of that error, that warning on the needing to refill the sprayer, to get that text off the screen, because no need in staring at that for the next 10 minutes or so. So did any of you guys happen to watch the video that came out from Cattle and Crops just a couple of days ago about the fact that they had managed to resolve an issue with rain leaking in through rooftops or the cabs in a tractor or a truck or whatever? So that was pretty cool. You know, it's that kind of updates, those kind of press releases or video releases, vlogs, or whatever you want to call them, that I really think that they need to do more of. And they should have possibly been doing a little bit more of that, even sort of on their own. I know a lot of people have been leaving comments about that, saying, you know, we fully understand the fact that there are delays, that delays need to take place, because otherwise, you know, we certainly don't want to have a product that's released that doesn't work very well, that just gets a lot of really bad press. And even though it is early access, and I will just remind everyone that even as I say these words that come out of my mouth, you know, the Cattle and Crops early access is not available right now, at least at the time that I'm recording this episode. But I think everyone should possibly be reminded of just exactly what early access means. Early access means that it's somewhat in like a beta state, that it's not 100%, it's not ready for prime time, that there could be some challenges, there could be some little quirks and things that will obviously get addressed in patches and updates and such. But also, the other key thing to remember is that it's not a 100% complete project or product. Early access only has a certain portion or certain elements that are going to be active and available for us. May only have certain types of crops and not all the different types of crops. May only have a subset of the standard, whatever they're going to call in-game equipment and such. And so that's just the way things are. And of course, if you know, if you don't like that about early access or preview or beta or whatever we want to call these things, then you know it might be in your best interest to, you know, somewhat avoid those kind of things. But I think for those of us that really understand it, that that sort of appreciate the opportunity to have the chance to play and experience the game early on, I think it's going to be rather cool. So I'm still very excited about it. Now, you know, I mean, I'm recording this episode on the 29th of April, so April is almost gone. You know, this was supposed to be released in March of 2017. We even around the first part of the year, or certainly once we kind of got out of January, I started thinking about, okay, well, we could be anywhere from, you know, 4 to 6 to, you know, 8 weeks from release of this, thinking that, okay, well, if they were to release in mid-March, that's when it would be, or the end of March. And of course, they told us that they would need some more time, and I've been very patient with that. I'm not, you know, I'm not concerned I'm not concerned at all. My level of understanding as to what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, my patience level, everything is 100%. I'm fine. As far as I'm concerned, they can take whatever time they feel is necessary. Now, I know that not everyone feels that way. There's a lot of people that are starting to think that maybe, you know, using the S word, the scam, or something like that. And I don't think that's the case. I think that I'm going to go ahead and send that driver home. I think that I think everything is above board. I think everything is legit. I think that you know, they wanted to put out a product that didn't have so many didn't have so many cracks and didn't have so many problems. And I think that I certainly appreciate the effort that they have put in to deliver a good solid product. The only thing that I will say, and I've said this before, is that I just think that they need to communicate a little bit more frequently, a little bit more often. I think, you know, at this particular point in time, they should be either producing an update via their forum, or even a direct email to all of the early access crowdfunding supporters, just basically saying, you know, we're still here, we're still working on this. This is kind of where we are. This is, you know, and I'm not saying that they got to put out a date or anything, because, you know, the last thing that I think that they would want to do is say, okay, our new target date for early access is going to be May 15th, and then all of a sudden come about May 10th, things are not where they want them to be, and then they got to come to us and they've got to say, okay, we need to put another delay in. It's now going to be May the 30th. That's the last thing that you want to do, because when you start putting dates out, then, you know, and you start having to back things up from that, it can be a little bit of a problem. And I don't think that they want to. I don't think that they want to do that. We'll start going back and forth here and see if this will work out well for us. About as well as can be expected, I suppose. Well, we are approaching the 27-minute mark, and you guys have pretty much seen this. You know, it's going to just be the same the rest of the way across this field. I think what I will do is, when this guy fills up again, I think I will go ahead and we will ride with this, with our Fent and our Penta trailer back to the BGA clamp and watch him unload, and maybe watch a few minutes of the silage leveling and compaction process, so that you guys can kind of see that one more time in this episode. And of course, if you want to try this yourself, just look for my how-to, my next tutorial, which will be coming out. You guys can see that and do this for yourself. It is somewhat of a slow process, this. I think that on Lone Star, obviously, we've grown corn for silage purposes on Lone Star, and of course we're going to use the silage silo for that purpose. And I think, you know, that'll be a much quicker process. But I did want to showcase this at least in one episode, and I kind of thought that this would be a good map to do it, because the field was a nice size field. I think we'll get we might get 1 million liters of chaff out of this, if we're lucky. And what I will do is I'm going to send this driver home. He will basically go and head back towards the BGA, and we're going to ride with him here momentarily. I tell you what, we'll go to this guy here, because I want you to see how he will basically instruct that tractor to pause just after it comes through the gate. And so again, you know, we'll just keep going back and forth and compacting and leveling and making it all nice and smooth. You know, I mean, I've never been able to do this. I've never been able to do it and make it look this small or this smooth manually with 17. I've always had big giant lumps and bumps and almost looked like a you know, like a mogul course on a ski slope. It was so bumpy and so uneven and whatnot. So so he basically has told him, the Fent, to halt, to pause, and then he will go ahead and exit the silage or the silo here, the bunker, and go over to his pause point, and then instruct the Fent to go ahead and pull around and empty its load. Oh, it's gonna compact one more time. Okay, I lied to you. And hopefully this time he will go ahead and proceed to his pause point. That's what should happen. Yep, okay, so just as I expected, he will go to his pause point and then he will release the driver of the Fent, and the Fent will come on around and do a circle and then empty its chaff and then proceed back to the field. And my apologies if I've already mentioned this, but I will be doing a part 2 of the silage process, and part 2 will cover 2 different methods of basically moving the silage once it's been fermented. Once the chaff has been fermented, it becomes silage. And I will do a part 2 that will include how you basically transport the silage from the bunker to the sell points, and I'll be showing you 2 different methods of doing that. And so look for that video to come in the next week or 2 after the part 1 is done. And so this one's going to proceed back to the farm, and then this one here will wake up, and then it will ease back, and it will begin compacting and leveling the silage. Again, just rinse and repeat. That's all this tractor will do. And I do want to just remind you, and I did point this out in the tutorial, that unfortunately right now for this process it must be a rear mounted blade, so you can't use a wheel loader with this blade on the front of it. It's got to be a rear mounted, it's got to be on a rear mounted vehicle. So basically you have to use a 3-point hitch on a tractor of some kind. So you can use, you know, well, I'd say it needs to be at least up to the spec of the Valtra or larger, just because you don't want it to get bogged down here in the chaff. So but yeah, that's the process. All right, well folks, I've ran the video just a little bit over. I wanted you to see this process again. look for my how-to video. It'll be coming out on the 6th of May, Saturday the 6th of May is when I release my courseplay tutorials. So make sure you come back and check that tutorial video out. And until next time, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to one and all, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.